It is Monday, October 9th. We are officially into spooky season. We are fresh off of NFL Week 5. Looking ahead into NFL Week 6, we got a couple big takeaways we want to take away from NFL Week 5 and then jump headfirst into the Week 6 slate. But before we do that, Brendan, how we doing, man?
I'm sick.
That's tough.
Yeah.
We're getting into that fall weather. Everybody's kind of coming down with something, so I feel like I'm a little behind the weather myself. Behind the weather. Under the weather myself. Here we go. All right. Hey, biggest takeaways from NFL Week 5. I have a few that I want to talk about, but I think the first one that needs to be discussed is do the Cowboys suck and are the 49ers elite? Both. What is it? I don't know, but the 49ers look phenomenal. They're the most efficient team in the league on both sides of the ball. Brock Purdy, you heard me now. He should be an MVP candidate. There's nobody playing better football than Brock Purdy right now. I mean, I cannot think of anybody. So San Francisco absolutely routs Dallas. Dallas has kind of shown their tail a little bit. Their wins, if you think about it, are against a meager Jets team, a horrible Patriots team, and a Giants team that seems to be falling apart at the seams with a loss to a 1-4 Cardinals. So Dallas potential frauds. I think that's something that needs to be discussed in depth. I think they still have a lot of good pieces, but I certainly don't think they're as good as everybody made them out to be. And I think we kind of confirmed some of our offseason priors with that game last night, but we'll see. We'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I can uncapitulate myself if I even did, because I was down the Cowboys all year from the switching in, the coaching and the scheme they're going to run. But yeah, you touched on it. Their first 4 games, it looked untouchable, right? Who'd they play? The Giants, Jets, the Cardinals, the Patriots. But now they play a legitimate, really good team and got Fetty Whopped. I'm gonna start using that, and it's pretty awesome. But no, I think the 49ers are legit. I think the 49ers are so legit. I would love for CMC to get one, Kittle to get one, Debo, Jawan Jennings. Like, come on. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? They have an amazing defense, and they can do whatever they want under the Kyle Shanahan scheme of offense. But I will say, touching back on the Cowboys, we played a really soft schedule. Now they've got Chargers this Monday, Rams, Eagles, couple duds in there, Eagles again, Bills, Dolphins, Lions. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them.
I know. I do feel better about myself because, last week, you mentioned it. You were kind of in the same boat. In the offseason, we kind of hounded the Cowboys. And we thought that they weren't going to be as good as everybody made them out to be. And at first, I was like, oh my gosh, that may be my biggest miss of the season. But now I'm pretty comfortable in that take. I think the Cowboys are not as great as everybody thinks they are. I'm not a fan of the hype, so I'm glad San Francisco kind of put them in their place. I think they can still win some big games, but contenders, not while Mike McCarthy is calling the shots. So next big takeaway for me, the Bengals. You said it before we hopped on the show. You have no idea what to make of this Bengals team, and I think that is the biggest takeaway for me. Is I think before we anticipated that the Bengals were really going to just slide out the rest of the season. They may call it quits here if they win or they lose a couple more and just kind of hit a refresh button and move on to next year. But they certainly have the ability to pop off. So with this game is a big takeaway for me because I think the Bengals can get back into gear, get Joe Burrow healthy after the Week 7 bye, and get back into contention. So if they can do that with some of their division play coming up, I think that they can certainly get back on track, especially with it's now a mess right now in the AFC North because the Ravens just went down to the Steelers and, the Browns were on by this week, so we didn't really see anything from them, but they could flip the script with the nature of this division. So I'm very excited to see how this story plays out for the rest of the year for the Bengals. I think this was certainly like refreshing for that team. They really needed that win, even though it was against the Cardinals. But I think this was kind of like a litmus test for them to be able to prove to themselves that they can be the team that everybody expects them to be, and they can be right back up there in contention. So, great performance from the Bengals, even though it was against a piss poor Cardinals defense. A win like that is still a win, and it's just definitely a morale booster for Joe Burrow and them boys. So, what did you think about there?
Yeah, I mean, their defense really took advantage of Dobbs, who is not a starting quarterback. He is now, but typically is not, and a very lowly Arizona team. However, they just, I don't know what to think. I still don't. I mean, their schedule, when they come back from the bye, they've got the 49ers and the Bills.
Yeah.
And they already have 2 division losses. So, I mean, for them to, like, make the playoffs at this point, I think it's maybe near impossible because they got to play the Ravens and the Steelers and the Browns all again.
Yeah.
They already have played them. So, we will have to see on that right there. But they've got a tough road ahead.
Well, that division, I mean, we saw this weekend. Anybody can beat anybody, you know? The Ravens were kind of sitting up there at top alongside the Browns, and now they just went down to the Steelers, who are, you know, I mean, nobody's going to be able to get a read on this division until the end of the regular season. So I think that's what makes it so fun. Honestly, it's just they all, you know, it's the most competitive division in the league. They all hate each other, so
yeah,
it's certainly fun in a competitive spirit. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I had two more.
I want to lightly touch on that division real quick. The Ravens just handed the Steelers that game.
Yeah.
Just handed them the game.
Well, the receivers dropped the game. Literally. Every single receiver dropped something.
It was insane. But,
yeah.
I mean, we ride, we die, we steal, baby. We're here. What is that?
I'm still on the Ravens. I'm not gonna really
3-2, baby.
I'm not gonna ding the Ravens for that one. You know, going to Pittsburgh and playing is certainly a tough feat to do. No matter how good or bad the Steelers are, they always seem to be a tough opponent on the road or at home.
The Steelers' defense at home is absurd.
Yeah.
Maybe the best in all football when they're at home.
I'm not gonna take away too much from that. So I think the Ravens, you know, can get back on track. But they did, you know, kind of shoot themselves in the foot that entire game. So
yeah,
I had two more that I want to talk about. One of them being the Patriots, man. They're horrible. Bill Belichick is not him. I mean, it's becoming more and more clear day in and day out that Bill Belichick was riding on the shoulders of Tom Brady. I mean, I certainly think he can still he's still like a great coach, whatever. He, you know, leads the league and wins and all that. But oh my gosh, like to be this bad. And it's not like his roster is like a bottom tier roster. It's still fine, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But I don't know what's going on up in New England, man. I have no answers. I have no explanation. Mac Jones has been playing horrible football. Nobody seems like they want to be there. Like everybody that's on the Patriots football team right now, if you watch that game, they seem miserable. Like nobody wants to be on the field. Morale is at an all-time low. It just seems like a bad time to be a New England Patriot, whether you're a player, fan, whatever it may be. So I'm not, you know, I always thought highly, like especially when I was walking myself through like making predictions in games and kind of viewing opponents that go to Gillette and play in Boston. I'm kind of shifting against that because I no longer can give Bill Belichick the credit that, you know, doesn't matter who's on his team. Like he's going to be able to scheme up anybody, especially on defensive side. I don't think I can do that anymore. I think after the past few games that we've seen out of New England, I think that we can now treat Belichick the mortal coach that he is. And I think that anybody can take advantage of this Patriots defense. Certainly anybody can take advantage of the Patriots offense. Mac Jones has thrown four pick sixes in his past 19 games. It's ridiculous. So that's something I had as one of my big takeaways is the Patriots, in fact, do suck. So future's looking bleak. I don't know what to expect for the rest of their season, but I'm certainly down on them for the rest of the year.
All I have to say is I think Belichick should have retired when Tom left. This is it's getting close to legacy altering. They're really bad. They're really bad.
Legacy altering is a great way to put it because
they just.
I mean, I certainly now that I've seen what I've seen. If he were to stop coaching tomorrow, I definitely don't have the same respect for him. I mean, that's not a good way to put it. I certainly don't think I hold him in the same regard as some of those other coaches like Hollis and those guys. Does that make sense?
Well, he was a really good coordinator for a long time, and then he became a head coach, and dude has the most wins. Does he have the most wins ever?
Not yet. I think George Hollis still has it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's going to get there now. How? I mean, he would have to coach for 2 more years. But, yeah, they're not good at all, and it doesn't look like anything's going to change. So,
no.
It's legacy altering.
I mean, honestly. It's crazy. I never thought that, even without Tom Brady, that a Patriots team would look like this under Bill Belichick. So, but yeah, I mean, moving forward, we're going to have to make some adjustments to our models. We're going to have to make some adjustments to the way that I view that Patriots team. So it's going to be weird, but it's what it is. Lastly, the Lions are legit. They are 100% able to beat anybody in this league. And I know that they beat up on the Panthers, but it's the way that they beat up on the Panthers that revealed so much about this team. And I know we've already seen it in past games, but man, this was kind of like the cherry on top. They are a complete team. They are a motivated team. They are a fundamentally sound team. And they have every piece that you can possibly want in a complete NFL team. They have the defensive parts. They have the offensive playmakers. They have the offensive line. They have the trenches, man. It's crazy. This team is a top 3 team in the NFL right now. As crazy as that sounds.
Who are your other two? 49ers and Eagles?
The 49ers and Eagles right now. And we saw what the Bills did. They certainly can. The Bills and Dolphins can be put ahead of the Lions. But after what I've seen, we've seen weaknesses from the Bills. We've seen weaknesses from the Dolphins. And I know we saw a little slip up by the Lions, but I think they're the most complete team, or one of the most complete teams in the league. So top 3, I know it's crazy to put them over the Bills and the Dolphins, but I think on a neutral site, if you put them head to head, Dolphins or the Lions would be favored.
I would agree, but they need to load manage really bad because I don't know when their bye is. I was trying to look. Gibbs is hurt. Amon-Ra's got a lingering kind of core injury. Brian Branch is hurt. C.J. Gardner-Johnson just went on IR. They really need to chillax on getting injured. But I agree with you. They are an excellent team, and a victory that will lap that any day. Sam Laporte is him.
He is, dude. But yeah, I love that Lions team, man. I'm so excited to watch the rest of the season play out. I think I'm even more excited for Lions fans than I am for Lions in general, I think. I know, I respect the Lions fans so much because of what they've been through, just shitty football teams for years. And now they get a team like this. Gosh, I wish I was in their spot. I would love that.
That's all my cousins. I get to see it firsthand. It's pretty special.
That's insane. All right. Hey, moving on. NFL Week 6. Big game breakdowns. We got a couple games that we want to walk through, give our favorite picks, go through our model projections and whatnot, and try to pinpoint who we think is going to win, who we think is going to cover, and maybe a little bit else. If you don't know who we are Statletics. We're just a couple of guys who love football and can dabble in some analytics here and there. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe to the video and drop your favorite picks for NFL Week 6. We love scanning the crowd, seeing what you got cooked up on the books. We love seeing that information. It's all fun. But let's get into the fun stuff. Biggest game on the slate for me, 49ers go to the Browns. 49ers are 4.5-point road favorites going into the dog pound. Cleveland's coming off a bye, so they can get a little bit healthy. It's at home, so they get the nod there. 49ers coming off of their best win to date. It seems like week in and week out, they get better and better and better and better and almost immortal. So with that being said, Brendan, with the numbers too, let's talk about the numbers. 86% of the bets are on the 49ers. 74% of the money is on the 49ers. Public is certainly heavy on the 49ers, of course. Don't blame them. But do you think with the week off, and do you think the Browns could snipe the 49ers while their confidence is high? Maybe they got a little ego check in place here at the dog pound. What are you thinking? What tell me about how you feel about this game.
I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are a efficient, well-oiled machine that it's going to take a lot more than the Cleveland Browns to stop them. I do not think the 49ers have any holes, and
Right.
I think that they cover this 5. It's at 5 now, right?
Yeah, it's 4.5, 5 on some books, but it's going to steam up. Looking at the money right now, it's going to steam up.
Yeah, I think that the 49ers cover 5.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'd take them at 7.
So 7.5 is when you would not take it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, dude, I want to take the Browns so bad, but I have the 49ers as well in my book, and the reason why is, one, if you look at my projections, you can find that on Twitter later this week. We post all of our projections, whether it's NFL or college football, up here at Statletics_. But the projections have the 49ers by 6.5 right now. So my model favors San Francisco by 6.5. It just, again, you said it before, them being the most efficient team on both sides of the football. It's just a recipe for success no matter where you go. Even in the dog pound, it's just ridiculous. I mean, listen to this. They are second overall in the league in offensive EPA on offense, and then they're third overall in the league in offensive EPA allowed on defense. And with a team like that, I mean, it's just, you can't, again, there's no holes, It's like, where do you attack this team? How do you attack this team? It's the only way you can do that is you pace them, you win the time of possession battle, and then you have the football last. That's almost like the name of the game. And so I think that the Browns defense can do enough to maybe force Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan to have to really get in their bag. But, unless, Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan just wake up on the wrong side of the bed and they're not on their A game, I don't see a world in which Cleveland can win. Now, the world that I do see Cleveland winning is if Kevin Stefanski absolutely goes nuclear and has game of his life calling plays on the offensive side of the ball. They're really going to need Deshaun Watson to be on his A game. So we've seen Watson progress better and better week in and week out, and he hasn't looked great, but he gets better every week. So that's got to have you feeling some sort of confidence as a Browns fan. But the 49ers are playing too well and too efficient for me to believe that they're going to go in there and not cover a 4.5-point spread. And so I'm with you. I would trust the model and take it all the way up to 6.5. So San Francisco's playing great football, and don't overthink it. It's simple as that. Some people are going to get in here and be like, Browns at home, sharp money, this, blah, blah, blah. I'm not overthinking this one. I'm trusting my model. I'm trusting the numbers, and I'm going to ride with 49ers until they let me down.
My favorite part about last night was literally as soon as the Cowboys would catch a ball, no matter where it is, catch, hit. Like 2 people.
Yeah.
Catch, hit. catch, hit, and like over and over and over and over again. That was it.
Yeah.
And they just, I mean, you can't move the ball on them.
No.
I thought that was cool.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Speaking of the Cowboys, the next big game we wanted to discuss, the Cowboys go to the Chargers. Chargers are coming off a bye week. They are 2.5-point home dogs against the Cowboys. So Vegas is still on top of the Cowboys. 63% of the bets are on the boys. 93% of the money is on the Cowboys. So we got some heavy, heavy money on the Cowboys. Again, it's early in the week, so this is subject to change. But, earlier in the week is really where you can tell a lot based on some of the more serious bettors who come in and place large wagers. Chargers, again, they get their bye week. They're coming off fresh. Cowboys, they have been demoralized on the national stage. So we have kind of two different scenarios coming off here. The Chargers have one of the best offenses in the league. Cowboys have one of the best defenses in the league. So one's got to give. Brendan, which one is it, and why do you think that?
I'm going to answer your question with another question, but I have a great storyline, underlying storyline. This is the first time Kellen Moore's playing the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
So who prevails? Is it the Cowboys knowing Kellen Moore's system for like 8 years or however they did it? Or is it Kellen Moore knowing the Cowboys system and how they're going to run it? Because McCarthy's still there. But McCarthy's is he more of a defensive guy?
No.
Is he not?
He's just like a boomer offensive guy. Remember, so a lot of people don't really remember this, but when he was with the Packers, Aaron Rodgers was furious with him. He did not like update his playbook from the time that he started as a head coach of the Packers to the time that he ended. And it was something that infuriated Aaron Rodgers because his so for instance, one of the biggest things in the league now is like pre-snap motion. And as that became a thing, teams started to utilize that more and more to be able to read defenses and tell pre-snap coverages without having to do anything post-snap. McCarthy didn't do that. He didn't do anything innovative on the offensive side of the ball. It was the same shit every day. And that was why Aaron Rodgers pretty much like begged the Packers to fire him. So his lack of innovation on the offensive side of the ball, even though he was an offensive guy, was really where the Packers fell short during Aaron Rodgers' tenure. And so that's why I'm not on the Cowboys. That's why I was so against the Packers hiring or the Cowboys hiring Mike McCarthy, is because, he's one of those guys that's not willing to adapt. And the most successful coaches in the league are guys who are willing to see what others are doing and adapt. That's just how it is. I mean, you can't be so narrow-minded about the offense that you're running. Why not look at what other people are doing and give it a shot? If the worst case scenario doesn't work, and you move on to something else. So that's where Mike McCarthy. That's actually why he got fired. So that's why I'm
Kellen Moore's about to be in his bag all night against these boys. I know he is. And the Chargers get Eckler back. They're coming off a bye, so everyone's healed up, and they've got still Keenan, still Palmer, still Quentin Johnson, got Eckler. Is Parham out still, or is it going to be jailed every time?
Regardless, I think Parham will be back. They use the bye week to try and get him back. Yeah. But still, again, like you said, Gerald Everett will be there regardless. And I think they use this bye week to get Quentin Johnson up to speed. So, he wasn't playing a lot. He wasn't really effective on the offensive side of the ball the past couple of weeks. And now that Mike Williams is out, I think they're going to use this week to get him ramped up. And so we could see a lot more Quentin Johnson. And even if not, Josh Palmer is still a very, very suitable wide receiver too. So
Well, no, Kellen Moore's in his bag this week, and I think they're going to score a lot of points. I don't have any take on if the Cowboys are going to be able to score on the Chargers, but it is at home for the Chargers, and they're underdogs, and I like a home dog, so I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah. And so
It'll
For
probably move.
me, my projections actually have this game at a pick 'em right now. So they think it's 23-23. So with that, I like the Chargers, and I like them at home, even though they really don't have a home field advantage. Not like some of
It's
these
not
other
a Jerry
teams.
World.
Yeah, no, it's not. But their offensive numbers, on the surface level, Dallas is very similar. But if you really like drill down into it, the nod goes to the Chargers. You have they're fifth overall in offensive EPA on the offensive side of the ball. Dallas is 13th overall. After that, even after that last game, ugh. But so there, I mean, if you go to the defensive side of the ball, offensive EPA allowed, that's where Dallas gets a nod. We have their fourth overall in the league in offensive EPA allowed. Chargers are 20th, so certainly some cleaning up to do on the defensive side of the ball. I think this might be a higher scoring matchup than people like to realize. Because you got to think about it. These numbers bake in. They're not adjusted for shitty teams like the Patriots, the Jets, the Giants. So even though the Dallas has all of these really high defensive metrics, they're against Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, and Josh Dobbs, and then now Brock Purdy. But again, you got to think about it with a grain of salt, and you got to think about the situational matchups in the past. So I'm riding with the Chargers here. I love the Kellen Moore narrative. That kind of confirms my priors. Again, riding the projections, baby. Give me the Chargers. Give me a high octane offense taking down this Dallas Cowboys defense that are potential frauds any day of the week.
I like it.
All right. Hey, moving on. Colts go to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Jaguars are riding high off of a nice win against Buffalo in London. That certainly helps them. Definite confidence booster. Colts are without Anthony Richardson. They'll probably be without him for a couple weeks. They have a sprained AC joint. The Jags, man, Doug Peterson has them rolling. They're 4-point favorites right now at home. And if you look at the money, there's some pure insanity going on. Colts, 91% of the money is on, or 91% of the tickets are on the Colts. 98% of the money is on the Colts. Everybody's on the Colts here, man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I think about this, especially with the Colts without Anthony Richardson. But I do know that Gardner Minshew is just as good at quarterback this year. So I will say this. If you've watched the show before, you've heard me say that the projections have a Colts problem, and they do. So this week, the model likes the Colts to win outright. But again, we have to account for the Colts problem. That, the model's been great. It's hitting over 60% of the time every week. It's just like, and sometimes it's right on the Colts. We've seen them beat really good teams that they certainly were not favored against, but it has a Colts problem every week. It feels like it says the Colts are going to score 25 plus. So just take that with a grain of salt. I don't know what's going on, but I think they're really efficient on the offensive side of the ball against some pretty good defenses. So that could be it. But Brendan, who do you like to cover in this game and why?
Well, I think the first and the most important thing to know about this is Shane Steichen specifically drafted Anthony Richardson to run an offense like he ran with the Eagles with Jalen Hurts with athleticism. He's not going to be able to do that with Minshew. So Minshew's completely fine, but I will say that it will be a different game plan than if they had Richardson here. Mm-hmm. However, I still think that they're going to be able to run the ball. JT's back along with Zach Moss, and they're going to be able to run the ball fine on the Jaguars. But correct me if I'm wrong, the Colts have been kind of shaky in their pass defense. Is that correct? Or not really?
Yeah, I mean, relatively. They have some ups and they have some downs. They have a solid offensive or defensive linebacker crew, and their secondary has been leaky, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah. I mean, they can do well, but they are subject to give up some big plays every now and then. They're both teams are middle of the road. Yeah. And some of the overall metrics that we use to make our projections and picks as well And looking at the offensive EPA allowed by team, the Colts are 16th in the league in offensive EPA allowed, and the Jags are 13. So very comparable teams on the defensive side of the ball in the grand scheme of things. So not great, but certainly not bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, this is just from kind of an eye test type deal. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to move the ball in the air against the Colts, and them being at home, and Christian Kirk is kind of playing really well now, along with Ridley and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram. Like, they have all those keys. I don't really think ETN's going to be able to get it going on the ground. But I do think that Lawrence is going to be able to pick them apart a little bit through the air. Now, on the other side, I just don't.
ETN had a game last week against the Bills.
I know he did.
Okay, so confident in the Colts run game. That's what I'm hearing. Defensive run game.
Yeah, I think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball. I'm not sure how much they actually pass it with Minshew. Like, if they're down, like, is Minshew taking, like, is he dropping back 38 times? I kind of feel like it's going to be I kind of feel like, just based on how the game goes, it's going to be a low 30 to high 20 amount of pass attempts.
Yeah, and, I mean, if they have to, I think they're certainly confident in it. You know, with JT back, Zach Moss playing as well as he is right now, I expect them to, you know, pound the rock as much as they possibly can. But Shane Steichen, you know, we know that he's an offensive guru, and I don't think he's going to be one of those, we got to establish the run type of guys. Like, he's willing to air it out. If that's what it takes to beat the Jaguars, if that's what it takes game script wise, he's absolutely willing to let Minshew let it fly. And we've seen that previously. You know, I think Steichen is one of those guys where he's not going to have his mindset on doing one particular thing. I think he's going to go in there with a, you know, really good game plan, and he's going to let that game plan drive what he does, as well as obviously in game situation. And on the surface, you know, Jacksonville looks like they have the better offense. They have better offensive weapons, but statistically speaking, the Colts are actually the better offensive team right now. You know, they're 12th overall in total points compared to Jacksonville's 20th overall. They're 11th overall in total yards compared to Jacksonville's 14th. They're 8th overall in rushing yards compared to Jacksonville's 15th. They're 19th overall in total EPA on the offensive side of the ball in terms of Jacksonville's 24th. So this Colts team statistically is better than the Jags in most columns. So maybe the Jags can get their ish going, but you know, I will say that's the numbers don't lie. You know,
I think the Jags to cover.
Really?
Yeah. No rhyme or reason.
All right, beer bet. Let's do it. I'll take Colts.
All right.
Colts +4. Brandon's got the Jags -4. So that'll be a fun one. I think that ends up being a high scoring game. So we'll see. I do wish Anthony Richardson was playing in this game though, but I'm a Minshew believer.
It changes completely if AR plays. In my opinion.
Minshew mania.
My pick. But yeah, Minshew is that guy.
Minshew mania, baby. Let it ride. All right, moving on. Lions go to Tampa Bay. The Red Hot Lions are 3-point road favorites against Baker Mayfield's Bucks. Baker is coming off a bye week this week. Maybe they can get Mike Evans back. We'll see. Right now, looking at the line, 68% of the total bets are on the Lions, but 70% of the money of the handle is on the Bucks. So there's some big money pouring in on the Bucks, even though the majority of the public that are making bets are on the Lions. Brendan, Dan Campbell's Fighting Lions. Do you think they get it done?
Why, of course.
Easy enough?
Yeah, I think the Lions are going to be able to move the ball. The Bucks have had a pretty very good rushing defense, and correct.
I mean, yeah. Especially at home, there's a significant difference in the Bucks playing at home versus away, which is kind of crazy to me.
Mm.
There's not many teams that are that much marginally different from home and away, but Bucks are one of them.
Yeah. Well, I think the Lions are going to be able to move the ball on the ground pretty much at will.
Okay.
I love Demont. I like their line. Gibbs to be a change of pace with it, and then they'll have Amon-Ra more healthy. What is it? Jameson Williams is going to have another game under his belt.
Yeah.
And Porta's the god. So,
man, we got
CJ Gardner-Johnson is on IR, though. That is important.
Yeah.
But I still think the Lions get it done. I think they cover 3.
Yeah. I truthfully, I think a lot of this kind of, for me, hinges on the fact that will Mike Evans play? Because if not, then it's just down to Chris Godwin. And I'm not sure if that duo between Baker Godwin could carry it. And
what about Josh Johnson?
I mean, he's good.
He's on the Bucks. I don't even know who their other receivers are.
But so here's my thing, though. What's surprising to me? So, statistically speaking, Detroit leads a lot of the categories over the Bucks in terms of total yards, total points, passing yards, whatever you name it. But if we drill down deeper into like EPA, both rushing, passing, and offensive EPA, both teams are like neck and neck. So despite the Bucks being like kind of mid to lower end of the league in terms of some of those main categories, efficiently, like using EPA as a way to drill down deeper, the Lions are 9th overall in offensive EPA in the league. Baker's Bucks 10th overall in the league. So they're really efficient on the offensive side of the ball, and both defenses are really, really good and efficient. Lions 6th overall in offensive EPA allowed on the defense side of the ball. Bucks 9th overall in offensive EPA allowed. So I think this game might be closer than people think. I think
3 points is close.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, at the beginning of the show, you heard me. I was all over the Lions. I do think they're a top 3 team in the league, and that's why I think they covered this game. I think they win. I think they easily win, and I think their defense kind of puts Baker into his place. And you mentioned it already. I think this line goes crazy on the Bucks defensive line. My projections have this as a 6-point win for the Lions. Trust the model, trust the process, trust the money. Here we go. Let's go, Dan Campbell's. That was easy. All right. Couple more I want to talk about. Commanders go to the Falcons. The Dirty Birds are riding hot after a win against the Texans. They kind of pulled that one out last second. So, Commanders, dude, ugly loss to the Bears last week.
Never been more disappointed, ever.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, that game was just shitty all around. I mean, there's no way you can sugarcoat that one. There's no way you can back the Commanders up on that one. That was just piss poor on all sides of the ball. So, but Commanders are 2.5-point road underdogs going to Atlanta. Atlanta, mixed feelings about them. One week they have a really ugly loss. One week, their offense finally looks like it's back on track. So this is one of the harder teams to decipher in terms of performance. I do know that Atlanta's defense is playing at a really high level for an Atlanta Falcons defense, but they're playing at a high level, certainly higher level than they have in the past ever since Dan Quinn left. Can the Commanders bring it back, or do the Falcons keep the streak going at home?
How did they bring it back? How? It would require their quarterback to let go of the ball within 2 seconds.
So, fun fact, he's on pace to break the league record in sack totals by like 10 sacks or something. He's on pace to be sacked over 120 times. So that's a issue that definitely needs to be fixed ASAP.
Well, they've always been playing when the normal slate's going, so I haven't been able to really watch it. I have never been more disappointed in my whole life. He has time. Get rid of the ball or run or throw it away.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Daniel Jones just hurt his neck because he's getting absolutely obliterated every single play because his O-line is bad. And Sam Howell's O-line is better than that, and he can't get rid of the ball and he's still getting hit. It's like he wants to die out there.
Right. Yeah.
Lord. No, I mean, the Falcons, I mean, I can't pick the Commanders. I mean, I probably won't put anything on this game at all, but if you had a gun to my head, it'd be the Falcons. I don't know. There's no big trust with the Commanders anymore. There's no big trust.
Whoa. I mean, yeah, but so on the offensive side of the ball, the Commanders are actually better statistically, and that's kind of intuitive if you follow the league. Atlanta's offense doesn't really have great numbers because they run the balls seemingly every play, just about. They did throw it more than they have in a long time. That might have been the most passing attempts in Arthur Smith's head coaching tenure at the Falcons. So crazy. We may see a little shift in offensive style, but still, they play at a slow pace on the offensive side of the ball. They've run the ball more than anything, which they should. I mean, if your running game's going to be that well, might as well give it a shot until you're down or losing at any point in the game. But yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, the Commanders do have a better offense, and it's not like they have a bad offense by any means. They're still really solid. Could definitely be more efficient. They're middle of the league in offensive EPA, more on the bottom end. Actually, they're 22nd overall in offensive EPA. Falcons are only 25th overall in offensive EPA, so not as efficient as a team that runs the ball would like to be. Defenses, again, Falcons are playing at a higher level than you would anticipate from a Falcons defense, and the Commanders, they're okay, but they're not very efficient. They're not so 11th overall in the league for the Atlanta Falcons in offensive EPA allowed, 30th overall for the Commanders. So they have some cleaning up to do on the defensive side of the ball. They can get pressure, but they cannot capitalize, and they have some leaky secondary pieces that need to be contained as well. I like the Falcons at home here. I think the Falcons are a way better team at home than they are on the road, especially in the Dome. I just don't see. I mean, I'll take that back. I do see the Commanders winning. There are some scenarios where they can win, but I like the Falcons situation a lot better. I like them coming off of a gritty win against the Texans at home. I think the Dome certainly helps them out a lot. And I think their defense is an underrated aspect of their game right now. And to top it all off, my projections do have the Falcons easily covering. So I'm rocking with the projections again, man. I got to trust them. If they're going to keep hitting at a 60% rate, I'm gonna trust them week in, week out. And I think we put too much work into those things to not trust them. So
Jacoby Brissett needs to play for the Commanders.
You think so?
Yeah, they got a bench out.
Might be a little premature for that, but we'll see though.
After this week, if they lose by 17 or something, gotta consider it.
Yeah, we may revisit that next week. All right, let's do a little bit of quick shot here. We're running out of time, and we definitely want to touch on a little bit of other games, but let's run down some spread picks from these other games. Eagles go to the Jets. Jets coming off a win. Impressive, not so much, but Eagles also coming off of a win. Eagles are 6.5-point road favorites at MetLife against the Jets. Who do you take in this game?
Yeah, I have to take a little longer on this one. So sorry. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, actually, Zach Wilson's not playing horrible, and the Jets defense can keep him in this game. But it's going to be hard for Zach Wilson to do that when he's on his asshole because he's gotten sacked 11 times. Elijah Vera Tucker is probably going to be out this week, and I think Jalen Carter has a afternoon snack, and his name is Zach Wilson. So I think the Eagles are going to win this one pretty good, pretty handily.
Projections have the Eagles by 10 in this game. Okay, Giants go to the Bills. They're without Daniel Jones potentially. We'll see, but it's pretty bleak for Daniel Jones. Giants are 14-point road favorites against the Bills. Yeah, it's underdogs. It's steep. Yeah, sorry, underdogs. So, do you think the Giants can cover that 14-point spread, or do you think the Bills win by 14 or more?
I mean, I don't really think they can, but that's so many points that I probably don't even touch it. But if I had to, I'd go Bills. I just don't know how the Giants are gonna get in the offense going.
Yeah. Projections have Bills minus 15, but neither here nor there. Got to take the Bills if Daniel Jones doesn't play. Okay, Seahawks at the Bengals. Bengals 2.5-point home favorites. Seahawks coming in fresh off of a bye week. Who do you like in this game?
Oh, fresh off the bye. I like the Seahawks.
Me too. Let's do it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, Saints go to the Texans. Saints coming off of a absolute pound town against the Patriots. Texans coming off a tough loss against the Falcons. Texans are 1.5-point home underdogs. Do you like the Saints to cover, or do you think the Texans cover and win outright?
I don't know.
I'm going Texans. Texans 1.5.
Underdogs?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't like that one at all. I don't like that game. It doesn't. I don't know.
All right. Vikings go to the Bears. Vikings are 3-point road favorites at Chicago. Do you think the Bears can keep it going, or do you think the Vikings finally get a win? They're 1-4, but they haven't had a good win in a while.
Unless Jordan Addison can operate like Justin Jefferson because he is hurt. Even if he plays, I mean, he shouldn't play. There's no way. I've had a hamstring injury before, and being the prime athlete that I am, I just know that you really need to rest that baby. So I think the Bears are going to win.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? Ravens go to Titans. Titans are 3.5-point home underdogs against the Ravens. Do you think the Ravens come in there and beat the Titans by 3.5? Or
overseas game?
You're right. Gosh, I do that every week.
It's okay.
Every time. Because I go, when I do my notes, I go to the schedule and like it still has them as the home and away, but I don't see the overseas part. So overseas, Ravens, Titans, who do you like?
I'm going to go with the Ravens to get back. They should not have lost that game to the Steelers. So.
No. Yeah, I think the Titans defense is too piss poor for the Ravens not to capitalize. Thursday night game, Broncos go to the Chiefs. Chiefs are 10.5-point favorites. This could be ugly, and it just might be.
Are you thinking about what I'm thinking about? Isaiah Pacheco, 5 touchdowns?
I mean, it's possible. This defense is awful for the Broncos. So
I like the Chiefs to cover. The Broncos have the worst defense in the league by far.
Yeah. I see this game being like a 27-10 win for the Chiefs. So that's actually what the projections have. All right, hey, that wraps it up for this show this week. Sorry, guys, we are a little under the weather, not our usual selves, but we'll be back here next week for NFL Week 7. Appreciate you guys listening.